What is up? It's your boy Jonni Shreve, IFBB promos to tell like it is. Welcome back to the channel. Guys, it has been almost 3 years. It'll be 3 years, October 21st, since the last time I did steroids. I've been off completely everything for 3 years. Now I say everything for 3 years because I have to explain this. So I haven't done steroids, peptides, growth hormones, SARMs, pro-hormones, whatever it is. And I say this because if I don't list them all off, if I miss one, someone's like, well, you're doing this. Even if I'm like, I'm not doing any steroids, they're like, well, you're at least doing TRT. Steroids is TRT. I am not on TRT either. I'm on nothing. It's been 3 years. For those who follow me, you guys know the backstory, but if you guys don't, so here's a quick Cole's notes. I've been a professional bodybuilder since 2017. I was an open class bodybuilder. I was getting ready for the California Pro, the Toronto Pro, and then another show after that. During, right before the pandemic happened, put my plans on hold. I was basically ready to put on another 5 to 7 pounds and then make it to Olympia. I was on stage as an open class bodybuilder pro at around 232 pounds peeled, right? The goal is to get that much bigger because I just had to, right? I need to get bigger on my chest, my delts, so those shots from most musculars and front double bicep, a lot more fuller. Pandemic kind of put things on hold. I decided at that point, well, I'm gonna reduce my dose to like a TRT dose. So I decreased it to 250 milligrams and I continued my prep. I started a series called Getting Leaner Than Greg Doucette. Back in the day, Greg was like, if you get as lean as me, you'll definitely win a show. Right? And I was like, okay, so all I gotta do is get as lean as you. And that was the goal because I've known Greg for a long time and he's been that guy that literally he's the one guy I know that's always lean. There's another guy around this area that's super lean too, but he's one of the only guys I know that's lean all the time, especially when it comes to show day, he's always lean. So that was my benchmark. Get as lean as Greg, I win a show. Unfortunately, like I said, it didn't happen. So I ended up doing Getting Leaner Than Greg Doucette series and continued. When things opened up and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna go and compete again. I decided I'm gonna do this as healthy as I possibly can. That was my goal. I'm gonna do this as healthy as I possibly can. Guys, you can't. Impossible. You know what I'm gonna do less this, less that, and I'm gonna compete. And he's like, why don't you just come off everything and do 212? You go right down to it. I'm like, well, I'm not gonna come off everything, but I'll just do 150 milligrams of test, and then I did 75 milligrams of Winstrol Depot, both injectable, right? And my 150 milligrams of test was suspension. In your body, out of your body, I like that. Like, it's like a day half-life, basically. Getting ready for that show, I was coming down from 250-ish pounds all the way down to basically 220 pounds, and the goal is to get down that low and then diuretic. Unfortunately, getting ready to leave that day, that morning for my plane, I collapsed. Basically, I caught a stomach virus and my body was just in no way, shape, or form to recover properly. When you're in single-digit body fats, I was literally around I would say 6% body fat before I left. My body didn't have enough to fight it back. And when it comes to viruses, guys, it's not like you just take a couple pills, take some Advil, whatever. When you get a virus, it's gotta run its course. And depending on how good your immune system is or how healthy you are, will determine how fast your body will go through its course fighting off a virus. Unfortunately, I didn't have much to fight off a virus at all. My body's full of foreign bodies, literally from steroids, the anti-estrogens. I was using all things to get my cells smaller. So it didn't happen. And I remember basically very clearly when I was literally having, TMI, diarrhea and vomiting, same time. And my daughter's sitting there patting me on my back. And I remember just being like, what are you doing? I just got 100,000 subscribers, I was a benchmark of mine, obviously. I'm like, I don't need to do this. I don't need to compete. I can just focus on this and, focus on my ebook that's coming out, focus on my YouTube channel, and that's it. And then I got a role in a movie and I was like, let's just quit. So I stopped cold turkey. I literally stopped cold turkey. And that was it. How do you stop cold turkey? Wouldn't your mental just be all out of whack? Wouldn't it be very hard for you to stop cold turkey? And the answer is, of course it is. Of course it would be. The thing is, had I have decided to go cold turkey from being an open class bodybuilder when I was trying to compete in the California Pro, when I was doing grams upon grams of steroids, of course that crash would have been absolutely terrible. But I spent a good 2 years on 150 milligrams of HRT. And then after that, during my prep, I was using test suspension. So that's in and out of your body really quick. So when I stopped cold turkey, when I was basically done, I was just done. When I finished my prep, I'm like, I'm finished. I'm not doing steroids anymore. That's it. That's why I was able to come off cold turkey and that's it. I've been off everything for 3 years. How's my mental health? My mental health has been probably the best it's ever been. And even when I came off cold turkey, my mental health is really good. And here's why I say that. In the last 3 years, I have lost friends to death, murder, family members to sickness, even just friends. Business going up and down, all those things that you have to deal with, family, this and that and the other. If my mental health was by any means not where it should be at all after coming off cold turkey, there's no way in heck I'd be here right now after a lot of things that I've been through in the last 3 years. So I really put the onus on my mental health being clear because I wasn't doing any steroids. It's so much easier to manage your brain when you're not doing abusive amounts of steroids, 100%. Now, when you go on TRT, HRT, it's the same thing. Hormone replacement therapy, testosterone replacement therapy, it's the same thing. It's like saying stiff leg deadlifts or remaining deadlift. I know the argument's gonna come up regardless. When you go on HRT, the purpose of HRT is to get your blood levels back in terms of testosterone so things start running smoothly, to make it super simple. And one of those things are your mental health. So when it comes to your doctor prescribing you HRT, your mental health would improve. But it's when you do abusive amounts that your mental health starts to decline. So when it comes down to it, because I went from 150 milligrams of testosterone, basically put it this way, guys, I basically did a 2-year, HRT after doing 1,000 milligrams of testosterone plus. So my body naturally, not even thinking about it, I naturally tapered myself off of steroids. And that's how my mental health has not been affected by it. And again, like I said, when you're on abusive amounts of steroids, guys, your mental health is 100% affected. And I remember thinking about this last year when I was prepping for the Master Olympia. And people asked me, how's your prep? And like, yo, listen, I was extremely tired. I was, all the things you should feel when you're prepping and dieting down and whatnot and cutting calories. 100%. But there's one part of my prep that I was like, it was a mind F for me because I was like, man, I should feel like I'm crazier. Like usually around this time, I'm like crying for no reason or, something's happening. And I was like, I'm not doing steroids. That makes so much sense because people don't really understand how much your mental health is completely and utterly affected just by being in a diet and a deficit. Your hormones, I would say, to make it simple, is fueled by fats, good fats. Fats help with your brain, fats help with your body, all those things. And when you take away fat, when you diet your fat down, you're losing that fuel that helps sustain your hormones and your mental health. Innately, going down into a prep without steroids is hard enough on your mental health, but then to take things like anti-estrogens, fat burners like Clen or T3, the works, dieting down, and literally taking away fat from dieting and cardio and then using chemicals to reduce it even more. Obviously, when you hear things like, oh, I got diet brain, yeah, it's true. Your brain is taking a hit because there's not enough fuel, calories, for you to sustain proper levels of your mental health. My mental health has been great. At the same time, I also see a therapist every month. And that's something I've been doing regularly for the last 10 years. And that's very important to me. Let's talk about the things that you guys probably want to hear about even more, which is training. My strength has went. I remember doing 150-pound dumbbells, 120-pound dumbbells for incline for reps, 10 to 15 reps of 120 to 150-pound dumbbells with good form and good technique. There's no way in heck right now to do it, not even close. I would tear everything in my upper body if I even tried it. I can do 100 right now and 100 for like 6 to 8 reps with control, and hard coming to failure. But then to now is a completely different story. My strength is all the way down. 2, recovery time. Recovery time, and I would say like that extra oomph, that extra gear, no pun intended. I remember that when we talk about set intensifiers, like, drop sets, rest pause, mile match, all those things, when you think about those, I think about those now, and those are like, that's gonna take me right out in a good way. Obviously. But when it came to when I was on, I could do drop sets, supersets, rest pause for every one of my sets, for every exercise, every day in, day out. I could do set intensifiers galore. And the next day feel like, oh, I had a good workout. I feel a little tight, that's all right. I do a simple workout now. And when I say simple workout, I mean like your basic workout, nothing crazy. And I have DOMs for days. Now I'm doing all other things to make sure that DOMs don't last as long. But again, when it comes down to it, I'm back to being regular human, so to speak. On Monday this week, I did a video on delts and biceps, and then triceps and chest. And that was an entire workout for me, and I made it into 2 videos. I have DOMs still, and it hurts. Like, it's not even like, ooh, a little sore. It's like, it's debilitating. It sucks. So my body doesn't recover anywhere near as it did before. Plus, it doesn't have that extra push that I had before that was like, all right, man, let's make sure we go close to failure. I'm going close to failure, and I'm maybe going to failure, but before I'd be at failure, and then I'd be able to kick it 5 more pounds plus failure, not to mention the amount of weight extra I'd be lifting as well too. So my training is different, obviously. I don't train anywhere near as heavy, but I train a lot more efficient. My efficiency in the gym has become a lot better, 100% for sure, because I'm way more focused on using my body the right way in terms of like the full range of motion, the tempo, everything. So my muscle-mind connection is absolutely amazing, and I will brag about that because I have a lot of pride on that. I completely understand for you guys out there to watch it that are natural. I'm not saying that I'm natural because, again, like somebody made this analogy and it made sense. It's like you can't say you're a virgin just because you had sex one time and then you stopped and haven't had sex again. You're not a virgin. Right, so same thing, right? I did steroids before, so I can't say I'm natural, but yes, my testosterone levels are probably back to normal or probably lower than that, and I'll get blood work done, whatever. Either way. So what is my nutrition? How's my nutrition? How's that affected me? Well, I'm not as hungry anymore. Now, understand this. I am taking ADD medication, and I've always been taking ADD medication. Taking ADD medication and not being on steroids, well, guess what? My metabolism has slowed down a bit. When you're on steroids, it speeds up metabolism. It does. That's why you see a lot of like big bodybuilders in off season are like, oh man, I'm fat. I'm fat, and they got like a 6-pack. They're like 300 pounds, and they have definition. For me, that has went down to basically baseline. Plus, I'm taking ADD medication, which torches my appetite. So if I don't plan things out, if I'm smart about it and plan things out and just let my day go, I will go an entire half a day without any food. And not like on purpose. They'd be like, oh shoot, it's 6 o'clock and I haven't eaten yet? Oh my God, I can't believe. Because my hunger is basically in the dumps. And plus, again, being medicated for ADD. I will do a video on how to manage your life with ADD when it comes to nutrition and training, because I know some people out there might need that. That has went down. Now, I have purposely tried to lose weight. My body weight went from 255 when I stopped to 210 pounds. I made this joke the other day with my daughter. She's sitting in my lap. I'm like, baby, you know what? You've grown exactly as big as daddy's lost his weight. I've lost 55 pounds in 3 years on purpose. I was getting more roles, getting more casting calls, and I was like, look, if I want to get any of these roles, I need to. I'm not Batista, I'm not The Rock, I'm not anyone famous whatsoever. I gotta squeeze where I can squeeze in. So for me, I decided, like, let's purposely lose weight. I feel much better. I look much different, and I'm getting a lot more opportunities. My calories are probably around, I would say, just off the head, around 3,000. Now, if I decide I'm gonna do a show or something like that down the road, because I do have the buy to the Olympia, to the Master Olympia, I would actually have to start tracking my calories to see where I'm at to determine whether or not how much I need to add to my calories or take away regardless. That's where I'm at there. Now, when it comes to how do I feel about this, about all of this, great. Let me tell you something, guys, and this is something where I can't relate to a lot of people. I've never had body dysmorphia. I've never had it, ever. I think a lot of the times when people get into bodybuilding, they get muscle dysmorphia or body dysmorphia because they put a lot of their wealth and value, their worth and their value into their physique. I got into bodybuilding because I was still chasing becoming a professional athlete. I didn't get to become a professional football player. I still had that competitive attitude, that competitive spirit, and bodybuilding would be my vehicle to become a professional athlete. So I've never been on stage and been, came off stage and been upset because the judges said this to me. For me, it's like I've played football for 18 years, so I understand competition. You understand that when you lose, there's a game next week. When you win, there's a game next week. You gotta move on to the next one. And that's how I treated a lot of my career. So I never had body dysmorphia at all. But I can tell you this, I love the way I look. I love this version of me. I love every bit of it. Way more than it before. But when it comes down to it in the grand scheme of things, how I feel, how I move, how I sleep, my mobility, my flexibility, my athletic abilities, now that I could do so much more, my wind, all the things I want to do and continue to do, because at the core of me, I'm an athlete. I want to jump, I want to run, I want to climb, I want to do a bunch of those things. I snowboard, I do archery, I race bikes, I do a bunch of things that I just can't do when I'm like this with 55 extra pounds on me. So what's next for me? Nothing. Same thing I'm doing. I'm gonna stay off. until my doctor says that I need to go on. And I'm only going to go on if my testosterone is so low that it's actually affecting my mental health, my physical health, my emotional health. That's when I'll actually say, okay, doc, I'll take your word for it, I'll go on. But if I get my blood work back and it's low and I still feel like this, guys, trust me, my sex drive is still good. I feel good overall. I've got tests galore in the last like 2 years. Everything in my body is running absolutely perfectly. And I don't want to do anything to mess that up. So the goal for me is to continue to make this body as healthy as it possibly can and to live as long as they possibly can, because I got a little girl that I want to see her graduate elementary school and high school and university, walking down the aisle to whoever, dude, we gotta think about that. Regardless, I want to be here as long as I possibly can and be healthy as I possibly can. And if any of you guys are wondering like what it's like to be off, or you want to talk about it more, guys, drop a line in the comment section below. Book yourself a 1-hour video consult with myself, and you can go over all the things that I was doing, even yourself, and ways to optimize your health. And basically that's it. That's my update of how it's been for the last 3 years being completely gear-free. Till next time, you know how it is. Iron sharpens iron. Progressive overload your life. In the meantime, keep dream chasing. Peace.